With the WINN FM News, I am Kevin Brown.
And I am Yolana Weeks.
Our top stories.
The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force recognizes Constables Wyatt and Modest as Constables of the Year for the years 2023 and 2024. The St. Kitts Nevis Law Enforcement Torch Run Committee takes a community-centric approach to raising funds for Special Olympics.
St. Kitts and Nevis, a strategic hub for climate action following GSIS 2025 hosting. Caribbean region to brace for another above-normal Atlantic hurricane season. Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister resolute about standards at new housing project. Internationally, UK unveils major military boost in face of rising Russian threat.
Now, the details.
Law enforcement officers within the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force were recognized for their outstanding contributions and excellence in policing in 2023 and 2024. Constable of the Year 2023 was awarded to number 155 Police Constable Julius Wyatt, a consistently high-performing officer. He also received awards in the following categories: Most Outstanding Constable in the Special Services Unit 2023, Tactical Officer of the Year 2023 and 2024, and Most Outstanding Constable in the Operations Directorate 2023. Meanwhile, number 370 Police Constable Stefan Modest was declared Constable of the Year for 2024. He also received other awards, including Most Outstanding Constable in the Traffic Department 2024. Traffic Officer of the Year 2024, and Most Outstanding Constable in the Operations Directorate 2024. Following nominations from within the force, the honors were presented to the officers by Commissioner of Police James Sutton. Constables Wyatt and Modest were listed among several other duly recognized officers. For the year 2023, 15 police officers, 2 civilian staff members, 1 island constable, and 1 traffic warden were recognized. For the year 2024, 22 police officers, 1 island constable, and 1 traffic warden were also honored for their outstanding performances and a commitment to duty. His Lordship Justice Patrick Thompson Jr. addressed the gathering. Though such an important event was organized to reflect recognition of excellence in policing, the judge admonished the officers to continue to serve with a high level of excellence, to uphold the integrity of the organization and build community trust. The May 24 award ceremony was held under the theme Stronger Together, Honoring Service and Empowering Community. The theme proved timely as law enforcement officers worked tirelessly in different roles to ensure law and order in the country, particularly at a time when policing is under much scrutiny by the community. The Law Enforcement Torch Run is the largest grassroots fundraiser and public awareness campaign for Special Olympics globally. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the Law Enforcement Torch Run Committee remains dedicated to supporting local Special Olympics athletes and championing the cause of acceptance and inclusion for individuals with intellectual disabilities in the Federation. The head coordinator of the committee is Inspector of Police Shauna Francis Edwards. Officers from the police force, defense force, fire department, and prison volunteered their time to raise funds and awareness for the Special Olympics movement in St. Kitts and Nevis, with a drill display at each of the public and private primary schools across the Federation. They were supported by the Police Drum Corps. Each student was required to donate at least $1 to the displays, with proceeds to be presented to the Special Olympics Directorate. Mr. Ivor Blake, National Director of Special Olympics St. Kitts and Nevis, told WINN FM that he welcomed the initiative with great appreciation, adding that the funds will be useful in supporting the programs of the organization and the athletes as they seek to achieve their full potential. Particularly speaking of the drill, Blake said the initiative was well received by the schools and expressed hope that the students would understand the importance of inclusivity and support for their peers with unique abilities. On behalf of the St. Kitts and Nevis Special Olympics Committee, Blake publicly expressed gratitude to the Law Enforcement Torch Run Committee, the uniformed bodies, and the Department of Education for their continued embrace and support of Special Olympics.
The Global Sustainable Island Summit 2025 concluded on May 29, 2025. Small island developing states, SIDS, and territories most vulnerable to the climate crisis came together to chart a path forward in sustainability, resilience, and regional cooperation. The summit underscored the grave challenge posed by climate change, particularly to island nations that historically have contributed negligibly to global emissions, yet suffer its most catastrophic consequences. The Global Sustainable Island Summit 2025 was a convergence of policymakers, private sector leaders, youth advocates, and climate action champions. Discussions prominently featured St. Kitts and Nevis's geothermal energy project, envisioned as a transformational venture, not only for the Federation but for the wider Caribbean region. Delegates explored innovative and sustainable solutions to the unique climate challenge faced by islands, emphasizing the importance of collaboration and knowledge sharing across borders. The Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew, took the opportunity on the summit's sidelines to meet with Dr. Antonio Cameron Baez, President of the University of St. Martin. They discussed opportunities to deepen collaboration between USM and the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, CFBC, with a focus on training, research, and cultural exchange. These talks reinforced the principle that sustainability efforts transcend environmental and economic concerns. They must also nurture education and cross-island partnerships to build resilient human capital. A persistent theme throughout the summit was the necessity for a comprehensive governance ecosystem to foster climate innovation. It was broadly acknowledged that climate action in island states demands integrated efforts spanning government sectors, private industry, and civil society with clear metrics to measure progress. The Honourable Dr. Joel Clark, Minister of Sustainable Development, Environment, Climate Action, and Constituency Empowerment, highlighted the power of regional unity. In an interview with the Government Information Service of St. Eustatius, during the summit, Minister Clark said,
sharing stories with some of our neighbors, St. Eustatius, for example, and their brilliant work in climate resilient infrastructure. And if we didn't have this summit, I don't think we would have spoken. We now have an opportunity to talk not just with our neighbors, St. Eustatius, but with the Maldives and the Marshall Islands and Hawaii. And we can share knowledge, share experiences, share resources, and perhaps work towards a regional framework for climate resilience and sustainability. I'm very proud as the Minister of Environment, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, our Prime Minister, the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew, we are satisfied that we have met our primary goal of convening with a purpose.
The next Global Sustainable Island Summit is scheduled for 2026 in Gran Canaria. Raul Garcia Brink, climate counselor at the Cabildo of Gran Canaria, revealed the island's strategic role as a bridge between Europe, Africa, and the Americas, providing a unique setting for advancing sustainability among island communities worldwide.
Why Gran Canaria? Because we represent something unique. We are part of the Macaronesia, a biogeographic region that also includes the Canary Islands, Madeira, the Azores, and Cape Verde. For too long, Macaronesia has been underrepresented in global island conversations, despite our rich biodiversity, our renewable energy innovations, and our strategic position as a bridge between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. Gran Canaria has been pioneering sustainable tourism models, advancing renewable energy integration, and developing innovative approaches to climate adaptation and water management in arid island environments. For example, we are developing Salto de Chira, a 200 megawatts pumped storage hydroelectric plant, the largest island energy storage infrastructure in the world. We also have nearly a dozen battery storage projects currently under tender to support our transition to a resilient 100% renewable energy system. In terms of adaptation, we are also implementing nature-based solutions through European projects like Costa Adapta, focused on coastal adaptation, and Horizon Nathalie, which addresses climate resilience in critical coastal ecosystems. In addition, we are exploring the island's untapped geothermal potential through a project to assess the viability of deep geothermal energy, which could provide a stable, zero-emissions baseload for the future. But more importantly, hosting a global sustainable island summit gives us the opportunity to showcase not just our innovations, but to create a gathering point for the entire Macaronesian region, bringing together voices from across our scattered but connected island communities with islands from around the world. Gran Canaria is committed to delivering an edition of the Global Sustainable Island Summit that will highlight our region's unique contributions while continuing the tradition of meaningful collaboration this event has established.
The legacy of the Global Sustainable Island Summit 2025, alongside the readiness efforts underway, signals a federation resolute in meeting the climate challenges head-on, forging a resilient future for its people and the wider Caribbean community. Following collaborative strides in sustainability on the heels of the Global Sustainability Island Summit GSIS 2025 held in St. Kitts and Nevis, attention now turns to the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, which officially commenced on June 1st, 2025. The season arrives on the back of last year's Hurricane Beryl, which inflicted extensive damage across Grenada and neighboring islands. Forecasts suggest that the 2025 hurricane season will again be above normal, demanding heightened vigilance and preparedness from all communities in the region. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, is predicting between 13 to 19 named storms. Colorado State University projects 17 named storms, including 9 hurricanes, with 4 expected to intensify into major hurricanes of Category 4 or higher. The National Meteorological Office warns that climate change is intensifying and increasing the frequency of tropical cyclones, underscoring the imperative for comprehensive disaster preparedness.
In a statement by Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honourable Dr. Terrence, drew on the official start of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. He urged that the Federation should not take the season for granted.
My fellow citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, this week is the official start of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, and while this is an annual occurrence that we have grown accustomed to, let me be absolutely clear, we must never take any season for granted. The projections for this year, as released by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, signal an above-normal season, with as many as 19 named storms, up to 10 hurricanes, and potentially 5 major hurricanes reaching categories 3, 4, or 5. These are not just numbers. They are a sobering reminder of the real and serious threats we face. In recent years, we have seen how these storms, fueled by climate change and rising ocean temperatures, have become more intense, more unpredictable, and more destructive. Storms are now forming faster, intensifying quicker, and changing paths with little warning. Some slow down and dump enormous amounts of rain, increasing the risk of severe flooding, while others accelerate, leaving us with far less time to prepare. The reality is that nature's unpredictability demands from us a level of preparedness that is constant and unwavering. As your government, we are fully engaged and committed to ensuring the safety of every citizen and resident of this federation. Across all agencies, we have been working tirelessly with our national emergency stakeholders, including NEMA, to strengthen our disaster response capacity, conduct national drills, review protocols, and build resilience in our critical infrastructure. We continue to invest in stronger public utilities, more reliable communication systems, and better equipped emergency shelters. But government preparedness alone is not enough. This is a shared responsibility. It requires each of us, every household, every family, and every business to play their part. And so I say plainly and with urgency, take action now. Do not wait for a warning that a storm is approaching to rush to the hardware store or the supermarket. Do not wait for the panic buying or the last-minute scramble. Do not delay repairs to your roof or windows or defer securing your property. The time to act is today, while the sun is shining, while the shelves are full, while there is time to prepare properly and carefully. I am urging every family to ensure that you have your family disaster plan in place. Sit with your loved ones and review your plan. Know where you will shelter. Also know where you will communicate with each other in case of power outages. And most importantly, ensure that your family's disaster kit is packed and ready. This should include water, non-perishable foods, batteries, flashlights, first aid supplies, essential medications, important documents, and other critical items that may be needed for at least 72 hours should disaster strike. Throughout the season, I encourage you to stay informed. Pay close attention to advisories issued by NEMA, the Met Office, and official government communication channels. Do not rely on rumors or social media speculation. Trust only credible official sources for your updates and instructions. This hurricane season will test us, as it always does, but I know that as a people we are strong, resilient, and united. Let us continue to look out for our elderly, assist our vulnerable, and strengthen our communities. The storms may come, but together with preparation, vigilance, and faith, we will weather any storm and emerge stronger. May God continue to bless and protect each of you, and may He continue to watch over our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The Honorable Spencer Brand, Minister responsible for disaster management in the Nevis Island Administration, reiterated the call for readiness. Quote, "Hurricanes are among the most destructive natural disasters capable of causing widespread flooding, wind damage, and loss of life. Coastal communities are particularly vulnerable, but in-island areas are not immune. Heavy rainfall can lead to flash floods, landslides, and infrastructure damage far from the coast. I want to reaffirm our collective commitment to safeguarding lives and property during the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season," end quote. The National Emergency Management Agency NEMA and Nevis Disaster Management Department NDMD urged citizens and visitors alike to prepare early. The official list of storm names for the season includes Andrea, Barry, Chantel, Dexter, Erin, Fernand, Gabrielle, Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Rebecca, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, and Wendy. Meanwhile, the ongoing Saharan air layer, SAL, impacting the Federation raises health concerns, particularly for persons with respiratory conditions. Residents are advised to exercise caution during extended outdoor activities and adhere strictly to the precautions from the Ministry of Health and NEMA. In an important development towards bolstering disaster readiness, the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force, in collaboration with the Virgin Islands National Guard, conducted a subject matter expert exchange on humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, logistics, and sustainment from May 26th through 29th. Participants spanned the Defense Force, Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, NEMA, the Red Cross Society, and the Ministry of Social Development. Major Kai Calwood and his Virgin Islands National Guard team visited critical emergency response sites, including NEMA Headquarters, Fire and Rescue Services Headquarters, and a designated emergency shelter on St. Kitts. These visits offered essential context and expertise, enabling targeted assessments and guidance to improve the Federation's response capacity. The exchange significantly enhanced interoperability among agencies, strengthening national emergency response frameworks and reinforcing strategic partnerships. As the hurricane season unfolds, the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force remains unwavering in its commitment to resilience, training, and preparedness, ensuring efficient, timely action when it matters most. With the region navigating the twin challenges of climate change and increasing storm activity, St. Kitts and Nevis is positioning itself not only as a frontline observer of climate impacts, but also as an innovator and leader driving sustainable island solutions.
In regional news,
Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister resolute about standards at new housing project, ABS Antigua reports.
The old Booby Alley, once a patchwork of clustered, mostly dilapidated homes, is now being transformed. 150 sleek concrete condos are on the rise, thanks to grant funding from China that's seeing the Prime Minister's vision come to life. And according to Prime Minister Brown, the project could be finished as early as the end of March next year, delivering climate-resilient homes to families who've been temporarily relocated to make way for the rebuild. But the Prime Minister says it's not just buildings that need an overhaul, it's mindsets too.
If you think that you're going to carry all the garbage into our new condominium project, in that case, you're staying where you are.
That stark warning comes after the Prime Minister toured the former Barrymore Hotel, where some residents displaced from Booby Alley are now staying. He says what he found shocked him: filth, old appliances, and what he calls nasty habits returning.
There will be standards maintained at that project. I mean, there will be a homeowners association, and the government will ensure that we create certain covenants to govern those who live there. we are determining that that place must be maintained in a pristine condition.
He says residents like those moved to Fitzroy Pestiana Street are already setting the right example and they'll be welcomed back. But others, he warns, are on thin ice and is making that clear now to avoid claims of discrimination later.
We're putting down our foot, we're putting it out early, and we're warning them before.
The Prime Minister says this is no ordinary development. It's a social transformation. But he says those unwilling to clean up their act should prepare to live elsewhere.
This project is a truly empowering project in which we are literally empowering the poorest of the poor. And when we go out of our way to provide poor people with free condominium homes, literally eliminating or let's say replacing their dilapidated properties with good climate sustainable condominium properties, and you feel you can just go and violate, ain't gonna happen.
The Prime Minister says those who used to rent in Booby Alley will pay a small fee, as low as $100 a month, and may even be offered a rent-to-own deal. But with those keys will come clear rules, and if you break them, you're out. With a firm clean up or stay out message, the Prime Minister says trucks will soon roll into the Barmouth site. And he's not just talking tough. He plans to personally inspect to see who deserves to return to Booby Alley, saying the project is about lifting lives, not repeating mistakes of the past. Jamie J. O'Shea, ABS News.
The OECS early reading and mathematics assessments are underway. Turning mental health awareness into action, the OECS calls on the region to wear green on May 30th. From policy to people, these are the stories shaping the OECS today. I am Malika Thompson-Sinak. We begin with an important development in regional economic cooperation. The OECS Commission, in partnership with the International Trade Center, also known as ITC, successfully concluded two pivotal high-level events in Miami on May 22nd and 23rd. The events were aimed at bolstering investment facilitation reforms across the region through the implementation of the Investment Facilitation for Development Agreement at the World Trade Organization. The sessions brought together ministers, investment officials, and private sector stakeholders to strengthen strategies for attracting sustainable foreign direct investment. 6 OECS member states presented their investment self-assessment, while broader discussions with CARICOM countries, the Dominican Republic, and Ecuador explored how to improve transparency, streamline processes, and boost development through better investment facilitation. Dr. Didicus Jules, the Director General of the OECS, called for a shift toward more inclusive and sustainable investment models that integrate diaspora capital and local entrepreneurship. These pivotal events mark a key step in aligning Caribbean investment frameworks with global standards to foster long-term growth. The meetings are part of a broader agenda to implement the WTO's new Investment Facilitation for Development Agreement, designed to make investment processes more transparent, efficient, and predictable, especially for developing and least developed countries. OECS students in Grade 2 participated in the OECS Early Reading and Mathematics Assessments as part of OECS countries' efforts to advance education and learning outcomes for primary school students in the region. The assessments were developed through expertise from the OECS Commission's Education Development Management Unit and OECS Ministries of Education. The assessments have been internationally benchmarked and will provide critical information to continue improving teaching and learning.
The OECS have always supported the development of curriculum at the primary level. So the OERU transformed into the EDMU, which has continued to lead this process. What's happening in there is that assessment experts, literacy and numeracy experts have come together to design a regional assessment, an assessment that works for every single member state. So it saves time, it saves money, it ensures rigor, okay, and it definitely ensures that there is some strict quality assurance in the process.
So what you're measuring is student performance at the grade 2 level, which is looking at the student performance, the minimum proficiency in literacy and numeracy. And it's a global indicator which shows where our students are if they're meeting the minimum proficiencies which are required for the grade 2 level.
So far, it's been incredible to work with colleagues across the region who are specifically steeped in assessment best practices to sort of shore up this exam for everybody across the region. So we've learned quite a bit of statistical analysis for assessments that we can actually take back and use in our regional examinations as well. And vice versa, we brought some skills to the OECS that can be utilized here and to shore up the exam for everybody across the region.
Also, we have benefited where when we were doing the paper assessment based, it took a longer time for the results to get back to the school. Now, it is done in a more time efficiency way that the results reach back to school in a quicker time. So they have the results at hand to take action more quickly.
Through a partnership with the World Bank, we were able to get support from the Australia Centre for Educational Research. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that the quality of this assessment is sufficiently high to be able to meet the standards set by the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, ensuring that we are able to report globally so that the data from the students of the OECS can be compared to students internationally. And that is also a huge game changer for us at the OECS.
We now bring you these international reports.
Britain will expand its nuclear-powered attack submarine fleet as part of a defence review. The review is designed to prepare the country to fight a modern war and counter the threat from Russia. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, like other European leaders, is racing to rebuild the UK's military capabilities. That's after Donald Trump told the continent it needed to take more responsibility for its own security.
We are investing £15 billion in our sovereign warhead programme to secure our deterrent for decades to come, creating 9,000 jobs and thousands more in supply chains across the country.
Monday's strategic defence review is to call for Britain's armed forces to move to a state of warfighting readiness and reverse its post-Cold War military decline. Starmer was speaking to workers at a BAE Systems shipbuilding site in Scotland.
When we are being directly threatened by states with advanced military forces, the most effective way to deter them is to be ready. And frankly, to show them that we're ready. To deliver peace through strength.
Despite cuts to the military budget in recent years, Britain still ranks alongside France as one of Europe's leading military powers. Its army helps to protect NATO's eastern flank, and its navy maintains a presence in the Indo-Pacific. But the army, with over 70,000 full-time trained soldiers, is the smallest since the Napoleonic era. Starmer has sought to cast the higher defence spending as a way to create jobs and wealth, as he juggles severely strained public finances and a slow-growing economy. The report, to be accepted by government, contains 62 recommendations. The announcement on new submarines helped lift the share prices of defence groups Babcock, BAE and Rolls-Royce.
The US President Donald Trump has condemned the attack on a rally in support of Israeli hostages in Colorado and vowed to prosecute the attacker to the fullest extent of the law. In his first comment since the attack on the social media site Truth Social, President Trump blamed Joe Biden for allowing the attacker into the country and called for him to be deported. Officials say the attacker, named as Mohammed Sabri Solomon, shouted "Free Palestine" and started setting people on fire, leaving 8 injured. Solomon is expected to appear in court in the coming hours. Well, the White House press secretary gave this update in the last hour.
We have seen 2 horrific cases of anti-Semitic violence in our country in the last 2 weeks, and it is unacceptable to this president and this White House. And rest assured, to all Jewish Americans across our great country, this president has your back, and he's not going to allow anyone to take part in violent terrorism, acts of terrorism in our country. We know that this individual, this terrorist, was allowed into this country by the previous administration, was foolishly given a tourism visa, and then was illegally allowed to stay. These individuals are going to be deported, and we're not going to tolerate such violence in our country.
Well, that's the view from the White House. Our North America correspondent Nomia Iqbal has more details on the suspect in this case.
We know that he has been charged with 2 first-degree murder charges. It's not immediately clear why that is, because officials say nobody died in the attack. 8 people were injured, 4 men, 4 women. Their names have not been released. 2 had to be airlifted to hospital with serious injuries. But also, just to add, he has been charged, just looking at the court filing, he's been charged with a hate crime involving actual or perceived race, religion or national origin.
Republican politicians are getting feedback from the public on the big, beautiful bill, and it's not all positive.
I don't see how anybody could vote for a bill if they don't know who are winners and who are losers.
In town halls across the country, senators and representatives have faced angry constituents.
People are not, well, we all are going to die.
And now as the Senate starts to consider it, there's enough opposition to suggest it may run into problems. A lot of what Trump campaigned on is here.
Our one big, beautiful bill will keep income taxes at the current rates and deliver no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our seniors.
But there are also a few other things tucked away which are highly controversial. Critics say courts will be weakened and limited in enforcing court orders. A government health programme called Medicaid, which helps those on low incomes or benefits, will see historic cuts, and food programmes for needy families will be cut back. The tax cuts could see a surge in the US deficit, meaning the country is spending more money than it takes in.
This bill is going to contribute significantly to the debt, and that is one of the limitations that some of our members of Congress are very concerned about. And so they're a little concerned about adding $3.8 trillion to the debt.
There are many, many bad things.
Democrats say the bill is good news for billionaires, bad news for working class Americans.
The crux of this is very simple. This hurts jobs, this raises prices, and it helps China.
So now the bargaining begins in the Senate. The bill may look different at the end of it, but Trump still wants to sign it on July the 4th. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, Washington.
You were listening to the WINN FM 98.9 newscast. Our top stories were:
the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force recognizes Constables Wyatt and Modest as Constables of the Year for the years 2023 and 2024. The St. Kitts Nevis Law Enforcement Torch Run Committee takes a community-centric approach to raising funds for Special Olympics.
St. Kitts and Nevis, a strategic hub for climate action following GSIS 2025 hosting. Caribbean region to brace for another above-normal Atlantic hurricane season. Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister resolute about standards at new housing project. Internationally, UK unveils major military boost in face of rising Russian threat.
Thank you for listening.